West, I promised you Divinity Original Sin 2, and now I'm going to deliver, and helping me do that is Mary Kish over here on the couch. Now, she is not one of the hosts that you normally see up here throughout this weekend, but she is such a huge fan of this game that I have to entirely turn this interview over to Mary, and poor Kieran here is going to be grilled by her as he plays. So, Mary, take it away.
And I'm so excited to get my first hands-on look at Divinity Original Sin 2 because even though you guys have been releasing some trailers, I've never been able to see it being played live. So you are actually playing it right now, and we're so excited to see it.
Yeah, this is Act 2, so this is actually new content that no one has seen, because you know we've been on early access for the last year now, nearly, and the early access part was just Act 1, so that's like the first 10 to 15 hours. So this part here, roughly about 20 hours into the game.
Okay, and now you said you've already been in early access. A lot of people have already gotten hands-on on this, but a lot of people, like myself, have been waiting on gamepad support or controller support. Where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, so controller support and split screen support will be in there from the get-go on September 14th when we release.
September 14th.
So yeah.
So a lot of us have been waiting for it specifically, but it's really cool that you guys offer all these different options from keyboard, mouse, controller support, and then all your co-op options have carried over from the original game, right? From split screen, which is dynamic. Yeah,
it's split screen, dynamic split screen, and also we've introduced 4-player now, so you'll be able to play with 3 other friends, and you can also play with 2 machines, both split screen, if you want to connect them all together.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, I saw an example where 2 people were playing dynamically, and then 2 people online to make a 4-player. So you basically can mix and match to
any combination you want. So we could play with keyboard and mouse on one machine, then 2-player playing split screen on the other one, and combine them together, and that's no problem.
Red. And now you're just playing solo with characters that you can take over at any time, right?
Yeah. So what I'm playing with right now is actually one of the characters that we've literally just shown yesterday. This is Fane. He's our last of the 6 origin stories we've got in the game. And Fane is the undead origin story. So we've obviously brought undead into the game as well. And undead doesn't just mean undead humans. We can also have undead dwarves, undead lizards, and elves as well if we want to. So a few things that we wanted to show you about the undead that makes it unique and different in the Divinity universe. It's definitely a more advanced race to play because of how it's going to impact with the world. The first thing I can do is actually if I reveal myself as an undead and take off my cowl, and you'll see now that obviously that's Fane. If I
really good. Now you're a human undead.
A human undead. Well, actually, Fane is a race all unto himself. He's actually an eternal, and his history goes back a millennia. So he himself is quite unique in that way, but you can have human undead as well. So if I go over to this per kid here, I can actually scare him because he's going to see who I am and that I'm a skeleton. He's going to run away from me. And that's going to be in the case of everything in the game. So if
Sorry.
I'll just leave him alone now. I'll stop harassing the kids. But if I do this anywhere on the map, so like civilians will run away, but if I do this in front of magisters or guards, they're going to know pretty quickly that I'm an undead, and they'll probably attack me because of it.
So you have to disguise yourself with a mask, I guess.
Exactly. You either disguise yourself by covering your face. If you at any point reveal any part of your body, including removing your robes or whatever, they're going to freak out.
Right. Now, being an undead, obviously you have some problems with that because people don't like you, especially humans, because we're really judgmental people. But what are some of the benefits of being an undead?
Sure. So the undead has some unique mechanics in there. Firstly, they won't get healed, right? So if I go into my inventory and I take a healing potion, and if I drink that, you'll actually see I'm going to take some damage. Right? So healing is the opposite effect. So if somebody casts a healing spell on me, it's going to kill me rather than help me. So I get the opposite to that. So any poison now is going to help me. So if I had a poison surface on the ground here, if I just cast this one, you'll see that I can heal myself by walking into the poison. So they instantly get a very different dynamic in the battlefield because of that.
Yeah, they're basically opposites of
precisely. And that's why it becomes a bit more advanced because our new AI as well will recognize that you're undead and start casting healing spells on you to kill you off faster.
That's pretty interesting. Now, you guys also have some other benefits when you're a skeleton. I think one of them might be sneaking is a bit better.
Not quite sneaking, but you can actually, if I skip forward here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
You have a permanent skeleton key with your finger. So you essentially get a permanent lockpick. So if I take Fane over here, there's a locked chest I can show you. Actually, I'm not running with Fane. I'm just come over here with Fane. And you'll see that this is a locked chest, right? So I can't get into it, but if I right-click and hit lockpick, I permanently have my finger and I can...
Key hand.
Yeah, exactly. Skeleton key.
Skeleton key, the permanent.
And I get the loot inside.
Okay. So
and then the final thing that the undead can do in the middle of combat, if I was to reveal my face to this per dwarf here,
he'll fight you.
She starts fighting me, but I can actually play dead, and my character will literally drop dead as if he's just a rotten skeleton on the ground. And then the combat would end, or they would avoid me in combat if there's other people in the combat. And then I can get teleported away or whatever I wanted to do to get away from it.
So you're
Hunter
kind of a
tactics.
thief. Yeah, like a thief or a hunter where you're basically robbing everyone and hiding from everyone and cloaking yourself so that you can avoid being seen. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention Face Ripper, which was brought up a couple days ago in a dev that looks pretty gruesome, and I just want to talk about it a little bit.
That's fine, yeah. So one of the things that Fane is known for, he's actually, as I said, he's an Eternal, but he was the Divinity of his time, and he was able to create a thing called Mask of the Shapeshifter. Now, in order to create that, you need the requisite items to actually craft it, right?
What are the requisite items?
So one of them is Source, which is the forbidden magic in the realm, but we all happen to be sorcerers. And so we actually have that in our pack. The one thing we don't have, however, is a face that we're going to need to actually change that into. So what we can do is, this dwarf here, she's actually in shock at the moment.
Oh, no.
If I was to talk to her as any of these characters, she would be scared of me and run away. If I happen to be a dwarf, she'll change that based on the fact that I'm a dwarf. So I'm going to make sure that I'm changing into a dwarf. I'm going to use my Face Ripper on this unfortunate dead dwarf here, and I'm going to use it on him. It'll make short work of his corpse, I'm afraid. And you'll see that I'm going to have a very, very fresh, freshly ripped off dwarven face.
Oh, it's disgusting.
So if I combine that with Source in my inventory, and I can do this with multiple races, multiple faces, and I can also do this if I'm not undead. So a lot of people seem to be, at the moment, they realize that, oh, this is for an undead. No, anybody can do this. So I can actually do this for my entire party and walk into like a dwarven base and act like we're all a party of dwarves.
Okay, so yeah, you could use it maybe as a way to blend in better to an area completely made of dwarves by ripping off 4 dwarf faces and giving masks to your entire party of dwarves.
Exactly, yeah. And so the
This
reason
game,
why
yo. This game.
the reason why we can do that is because of the systems in play, right? So if I go in, you'll see I get a new ability here called Turn into Dwarf. So I can turn into the dwarf. I'll zoom in for a second so you see it.
Well, it looks really good.
Yeah, so now what I get is not just the fact that I'm now a dwarf, right, and I look like a dwarf.
Right.
But the game is going to recognize that because of our unique tag system. So you see now I have the tag dwarf rather than human.
Interesting.
And so when I go to somebody now and talk to them, they're going to talk to me like I'm a dwarf. And so that opens up different dialogue options that I may not have gotten if I was human or lizard or whatever.
So this seems like something that's not just something new and interesting, but almost not necessary, but very important that maybe someone in your party does this, because it seems pretty valuable.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can obviously play the game as you want, and a lot of Original Sin 2 is about choice and consequence. So we want to make sure that everything that you do, be it good or bad, you're going to recognize that at the end of the game. So trust me when I say Act 3, everything that we do here is going to bite us or help us, depending.
It's very interesting, and yeah, something the game is known for is dialogue choices that end up coming back to haunt you. I have a couple hot questions I just want to run off before I forget because they're
Fire
important
them off.
to me.
We got 2 minutes.
Okay, how are you dealing with NPC looping dialogue?
Go.
Red, orange, yellow, and green, the finest veggies Cecile's ever seen.
Yeah, so we have a phrase for that in our company. We call it cheese vendoring. So whenever that happens, he's known to be cheese vendoring, and we obviously get that jeered out as quickly as possible. No, we're doing our best to make sure that. And actually, as you mentioned, voice, one of the things we revealed last week is that we've actually fully voiced the game. So every single dialogue in the game right now is going to be fully voiced.
That's super exciting to hear. That's something I'm really excited about. Environmental damage was super important in the original. Is that something you guys are bringing back through level design and boss battles to encourage environmental ways to kill people?
Oh yeah, if anything, we've just doubled down on that, right? So we've added a huge amount of extra skills. We've added skill crafting, so you can create new skills if you want to.
That's what I wanted.
And now with the source abilities, like we have bless here. So if I was in fire, if I cast fire here with my fire arrow, and then my friend is burning in it, I can actually bless that surface. And now it turns from burning to a healing fire. So we've doubled down on that and only expanded the elemental attraction.
That's super exciting. Will cats have an important role again?
Absolutely, and in fact, a lot of the questions, as you can see here, I've actually activated spirit vision. So a lot of people are like, well, okay, if I can talk to animals, can I talk to dead animals? And absolutely, you can talk to dead animals. So we could actually talk to this bull if we wanted to right now.
That's so cool. I remember I specifically upped my ability to talk to animals because it became so valuable where they would tell you things about the environment or bad guys that were coming down the pipeline that you wanted to know about anyway. So being able to talk to animals was huge. Should people invest in paintings again?
Well, yeah, I mean, stealing is definitely going to be still in the game. Yeah. And we've actually added with our new AI, it's even stronger now, and they actually realize when things are getting stolen. So while it'll definitely be beneficial, you'll need to watch out when you do so.
Okay, awesome.
Last one.
Those were all my hot ones. Oh, are those goblins back, and are they still annoying and follow you around?
The goblins, I don't
even know if that's what they are, but you know what they're talking about.
I'm not going to spoil.
You won't spoil.
They're everywhere.
All right, hit me with that release date and where we're going to find the rest of the information.
September 14th, and you can find more information on divinity.game.
That's amazing. Mary, you killed it. Guys, we're going to be back with more games real soon. Don't go anywhere. This is PAX West.